Hello and welcome to the first video for Chapter 6. This video is going to discuss the child tax credit and the additional child tax credit. Alright, this starts on page 6-2 in your book and it covers lines 62. Alright, and I apologize, line 52 and line 67 of your Form 1040. Okay, just a note, I just want to give you an update. In the recent Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that was passed in late December of 2017, the child tax credit has been changed for 2018. Under 2017 tax law, and these would be the returns that you would be doing this year, all right, the child tax credit is equal to $1,000 per qualifying child under the age of 17. And again, remember that the age is determined by the child's age on December 31st, 2017. All right, so if the child turns 17 in 2018, okay, they're good. If they turn 17 in 2017, they are not eligible for the credit, or whoever is claiming them is not eligible for the credit. Okay, in 2018, the credit has been increased to $2,000 per qualifying child under the age of 17 and $500 per any other dependents on your return. Okay, all right. Part of the child tax credit is refundable. All right, there are two refundable credits, mainly, on your Form 1040. One of them is the child tax credit. The other one is the big one, which is the earned income credit, and is the subject of the next video. All right, so let's take a look at pages 6.2 through 6.5. Okay, the author mentions on the first paragraph underneath the example on page 6.5 that there is a pecking order to these credits. All right. Now, if we go take a look at page 2 of Form 1040, we will see that there is a list of credits on lines 48 through 54. All right. They are in that order. So, in other words, the first thing we look at is what is the amount on line 47. All right, line 47 is the tax before credits. Okay, in other words, it's the raw tax that is calculated on your taxable income. All right, on line 43, assuming that the person doesn't have an advanced premium credit repayment, or they are subject to the alternative minimum tax. All right, so the first thing we do is we look at to see if there was any foreign tax credit, and we'll get to that in a later video. All right, then we look to see if they had a credit for basically what's called daycare. All right, that is line 48. Line 49. And then there are some education credits and retirement savings credits on line 50 and 51. If all of those are zero, all right, then the child tax credit should be on line 52, $1,000 per qualifying child under the age of 17, up into the amount on line 47. If there are any amounts on line 48, 49, 50, and 51, those credits will be applied to the tax on line 47 before we get to line 52. So it's not that unusual to see that line 52 would not be exactly equal to $1,000 per qualifying child. Okay. Now, if you have a taxpayer who is subject and allowed to take the child tax credit, and the amount on line 52 is not $1,000 per child, then the additional child tax credit kicks in. All right, and that would be on line 67 of Form 1040. Okay, all right, and you would know that they could take that. Number one, the software should probably do it automatically for you. All right, but if you look on page 6-5, all right, you see the second paragraph underneath the second example. All right, that's the paragraph that starts with the additional child tax credit is available to taxpayers whose child tax credit was limited. All right, okay, and in order to be eligible, they had to have earned income over $3,000. All right, and if they had 2 or fewer qualifying children, the amount of the additional child tax credit is the lesser of the unused credit. All right, okay, because of the other credits above. All right, or 15% of their income over $3,000. Okay, now again, your tax software, no matter which one you use, should automatically calculate the child tax credit and the additional child tax credit for you automatically. You should not have to compute anything. However, all right, because of due diligence, all right, you probably will have to fill out Form 8867 when you prepare a return. By the way, this Form 8867 is required if you are being paid to do the return. And failure to file Form 8867 with the return electronically could result in a penalty of $500 per return. Okay, this is to make sure that you as the tax preparer, okay, are not committing any fraud. All right. Okay, again, most of the questions on the 8867 will be filled out automatically, but some of them will not, including the questions for the child tax credit and the earned income credit. You actually have to go in there and respond yes, no, or not applicable to whether or not you ask the appropriate questions of your client on whether or not they qualify for the child tax credit and or the earned income credit. Okay, just a real quick note, all right, again, to review what is a qualifying child. Those qualifications were in Chapter 1, and again are summarized in the second paragraph underneath the first example on page 6-2. Okay, so that is the child tax credit. In our next video, we'll discuss the earned income credit.